So I have returned from the New Jersey ToyCon, a show that I've been to a number of times. Hell, I even sold at a number of years ago. But it's been a while since I've been there, and I've really wanted to go. I've got a bunch of stuff this year that I really want to show off. So we're gonna do that right now, actually, and I'm gonna start with some stuff that might not be super exciting. You might hear it rustling around, but this is very cool to me. There's a I'll tell you who I got this from, but first I want to show you what I got. So this is a type of stand where you can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures on. And this is basically a 3D printed file, but it does come out to be a very cool looking kind of stand. And there is another style that I got as well. So you can see here is the other style, almost like a pyramid in shape. And these are really, really neat in if you're trying to kind of put together a, some kind of action figure display. I'm going to take that arcade machine down for a moment. That's fine. Actually, I'll take everything off. So yeah, it just looks cool if you're trying to make some kind of display structure for characters to stand on. They are somewhat modular, as you can see. They can just kind of fit together, slide together however you want. And these are very cool. And my display space does have room for some types of stands and stuff. So they're going to be added. I actually got 3. I did get a second one of this style that I think would look very good on my display space. And just to kind of see how they look, you can throw a character on one of these. Maybe not a super wide stance, but let me bring Daredevil's legs a little closer together. There you go. You can have them standing there. You might not be able to get the most dynamic of poses out of them, but it does work, and it looks pretty good. So we're going to be seeing Daredevil again in a little bit. But that's not all with these. First off, I do have to say I got this from Lone Wolf Labs, and I'm going to put the business card up here now. Great guy to talk to. Make some killer diorama stuff. And I got some stuff from him that I really want to talk about aside from these files, these 3D printed files. There's also a bag of all this stuff. And what this is, I hate opening things on camera, I apologize. These are little bases for each level. And you notice there's like a little foot groove there. So you can just put these on, and there's a little bit of movement, but they're going to stay there. And then if you're a little afraid of your character balancing, you can just slide their foot into the little groove here, and they will stay. It works relatively well. There is a little bit of give. When I was talking to Lone Wolf, he was telling me how he designed this to have a little bit of give, or it is designed to have a little bit of give so that you could try different style action figures on these shelves. You could do Marvel Legends, you could do Mythic Legions. It looks pretty good. Now, you don't have to put these on, but he gave me enough to fill all the spaces, so you can just stick them on wherever you want, and then stick your characters on. And it is 3D printed relatively smoothly. It is a good grip. I don't think it's going to cause any paint rub. I would say that if you have something that has like painted feet and you're a little afraid, maybe you don't use it for those characters, but everybody else, this is looking pretty good. And like, as you can see with Daredevil here, and I can just kind of stick him anywhere I want. Like, there you go. Like, he's standing. It looks pretty good. And yeah, you could get a bunch of characters on here. Maybe if you have like a team that you want standing together, that might be a good way to do it. He also gave me some little like just glue dots, as it were, that will help. If you don't want to use the foot peg, you could just kind of stick a glue dot on a character's foot. That will also help them stay there. They are safe. They don't take any paint off. We kind of compared it to if you've ever bought like a special edition DVD that has like, special edition on the front of it, and then you peel the thing off and there's like a little glue dot there. It's kind of like that. It doesn't remove any of the paint or anything. So that is the stands that I got from him. I did get something else from him. And if you've been watching me long enough now, you can kind of tell from my display space, I have a bit of a backdrop going. Not that it's like a perfect backdrop or anything, but I have those little arcade machines. My ultimate idea is to kind of build a nice display piece here that I can review with that maybe looks like something like a hangout, like a bar or lounge or something. And aside from those video game cabinets, I now have a soda machine. So this was, again, printed out by Lone Wolf Labs. Great price. I want to say this was a $10 item. So now I can have a soda machine and some video game cabinets around it, which I think looks pretty good. You know, maybe I'm going to put Dig Dug right next to the soda machine. But there we go. You know, I think maybe I'll end up making more of an arcade or something to review my figures in. But this looks really cool. You know, I like adding these little props to my display space, and this is something I do intend on growing and changing as time goes on. But aside from that, let's see what else I got, because I did pick up quite a bit of things. There are some vintage finds that I picked up. There's some other things I need to talk about. And we are going to start with a fantastic vintage item, something that I was so happy to get my hands on. I have been on a bit of a quest to get all the G1 Constructicons, and I've had quite a bit. I don't intend to combine them to Devastator, but with my pickup today, and I do need to clean this one off a little bit, I did get the head of Devastator. So if I did want to put this together, I have Devastator's head. But no, that's not the most important thing. No, I got a pretty decent looking G1 hook, and it it does have the hook arm able to extend. It still has a little hook piece, and it looks really good. The middle piece is not broken, which is very, very important. But he's the last Constructicon I've needed. I've needed this for a couple years now. So to finally have him is pretty cool. As you can see, the rub sign still works. He is a Decepticon, in case you weren't sure. But in order to transform this hook, I have to extend both these pieces and then flip the feet around like this. I'll bring him back down, flip the head up, take the arms out, which I'm always afraid of doing on something vintage. I don't want anything to break. Let's put the head back up. And there we go. This is my vintage G1 hook, and he looks pretty fantastic. Yes, he is pretty small, but all the original Constructicons were. I got him for what I think was a great price, and I'm very happy about this. So this is going to go on my shelf with the rest of my G1 Constructicons. He will stand there and look like a Constructicon, I guess. I don't know what else to say, but I'm very happy about this, and yeah, just super excited I finally found this. I kind of said that I would never try to get these guys on eBay. I could have done that and been done with it in 2 minutes. I wanted to try to find them at shows or when I go to vintage stores. That was always part of the goal for this project, so I was very happy that I got to do this at a great little toy show. And actually, I shouldn't say little. It's a very large toy show. If you ever have the chance to check out New Jersey ToyCon, you 100% should. Moving along to some other vintage pickups. There was one seller who just had dig bins full of some vintage X-Men goodness, and I had sold off most of my Toy Biz X-Men figures, but I think X-Men 97 kind of kickstarted it for me, but I recently decided that I wanted to try to find at least all the Cable figures that have been made in the Toy Biz, from the Toy Biz era of X-Men, pre-Marvel Legends. So I started looking for them, and my goal is to get all the Cables on card, but then I thought it might be fun to get all the Cables loose as well, so I could have carded samples and loose samples. So I did find this was the 3rd edition Cable while I was at the show today. I don't have that one on card yet. I did find my all-time favorite Cable figure. This was I want to say the 6th or 7th edition of Cable, but also known as Cable Cyborg. These guys didn't have any accessories, but that's okay because they were charging cheap enough for them. So I have a loose sample of that Cable. And for the loose ones, I don't really mind if they're complete or not. It's just more about having the figure that I can open and play with. I also got my hands on the 2nd edition of Cable. So this was the one in the big bulky spacesuit. And I got as you hear the bag rustling, the 1st edition of Cable. Right here, there we go. And this was one of the first figures I ever had as a kid. I do have a carded sample of this one, which makes me very, very happy. But it is just like I remember it, with the arm that swings out and the whole karate chop gimmick. I don't know why Cable needed a karate chop gimmick, but hey, we have it. I believe somewhere I actually have his gun, so I'll probably give him his gun. This head is a little loose, I didn't realize that, but not that like I'm really playing with these. So yeah, so I have Cable 1, 2, 3. I have the 4th or 5th edition. I forgot which number it is, somewhere on my shelf, loose again. Now I have the Cyborg one. I also have, it was from some kind of FAO Swartz box set, where it is this Cable, but with like this color palette, and it does look very cool. But they were doing 5 for a certain price. I want to say like 5 for 20. So I did grab one more, and while there were no other Cables to be had, I felt I couldn't pass up this one. It is the 2nd edition of Deadpool. I figure why not add a loose Deadpool. So this one has a removable mask, so you can see his messed up face, and you just kind of stick the mask back on, which, there we go. This was giving me some trouble going on. The original one had 2 different hands. There were interchangeable hands. One was gloved, one was ungloved. This has the gloved hand. He did come with guns that you could stick on his side. This one doesn't have it, but he does have his little dagger. And surprisingly, he has both his swords. I kind of was very surprised to see that, because normally, the rest of these Cables didn't have any weapons. So when I saw that this Deadpool had his swords, I was like, hey, that's cool. That would be something that I could mess around with and have some fun with. And you just kind of have to yank the swords out from the back, and you can stick them in his hand. The sword is bent. I will have to spend some time bending this back. But if you want Deadpool to hold his sword, he could. Just fun throwback to like my youth. I remember getting, I want to say, this Deadpool for like Christmas one year, and I was very excited. I had the 1st edition Deadpool. Now I had the 2nd edition Deadpool, so it's cool to have this one. And I'm sure he was like repackaged a whole bunch of times too. So I'm not even sure if this is like legitimately the 2nd edition. This might have been like some KB repaint or something. All right, continuing on to some other stuff I got. I did grab 2 Marvel Legends on the cheap side for fodder. I got a Lady Deathstrike, and honestly, the reason why I wanted another Lady Deathstrike is for her vest piece, and I believe, with enough heat, I can get this piece off. The reason why I want to get this piece off is I am in the process of making a Marvel Legends Feral, and I need to have a piece that goes over her chest and shoulders. And I suck at sculpting. So I thought the Lady Deathstrike piece would be good. When I saw somebody selling a Lady Deathstrike today, I definitely went and said, oh, this is soft enough. I can pull this off if I were able to find it. So, or if I buy this and heat it up. So that is my goal, to use this for the Feral piece. And of course, once I'm done doing a Feral figure, I guarantee the Hasbro team will announce one. So I got a fodder Lady Deathstrike. And I got a fodder She-Hulk, and I know I sang the praises of this figure. This figure is one of my top for the year. It doesn't have the additional hands. It just has the fists, which I'm fine with. But I did make mention of how I wanted to get a She-Hulk to paint in the blue colorway that she looked in the Secret Wars comic, and with that Secret Wars line just announced by Hasbro, the Secret Wars homage line, vintage card line. Part of me is like, do I even want to paint the She-Hulk? Are they going to give us the She-Hulk in her correct costume? I don't know, but it's a chance I'm willing to take, so I will be trying to paint the She-Hulk up. I remember saying during that She-Hulk review how it would be cool to get this She-Hulk and paint her up to be Titania, and then they announced her, so hey, that's one less custom I have to do. But She-Hulk is on the table. Next up is some stuff that I got from D. Blake Makes. That is Damon Blake, and he is a really good dude. He's been on my show, my podcast, and he makes really cool stuff for your shelf, namely in the form of signs, amongst other things. And one of the things that I've been wanting to do is get some signs that I could use to label up some shelves. So I got a really nice Deadpool sign for my Deadpool shelf. But on my Deadpool shelf, I also have Cable. So I got a really nice Cable sign. I also got an Avengers sign for where my Avengers are hanging. I went with the blue because I wanted just something different. Got a nice Daredevil logo sign for my street level hero kind of display. And then I got an Autobot and a Decepticon sign, which will go with my Transformers, obviously. But the other thing, let me get these out of here because there's not much to show here. But the other thing that I got from D Blake Makes, and check him out on Instagram, it is D Blake Makes. In fact, there it is. You can scan that if that might work from here. I'm not sure. But you can see it is a set of Daredevil batons. He doesn't just make signs. He does make additional display pieces. And one of the things he's done is he's done Spider-Man webbing and like Venom tendrils and stuff. Well, he's gone on to expand his offerings to include some Daredevil batons. And they come on a nice little piece of foam board like this. They are taped down. I'm going to untape them. Ooh, come here. You know what? I'm just going to slide the wire through. That might be easier. And this is just a very bendable wire. This is the short style, by the way. And as you can see, it stretches pretty long. It just does plug in to this baton here at the end. So you can just take it and plug it on in. And if you want to have your Daredevil pose with these, I'll bring out that original costume Daredevil that I was messing with before. You know, you can have it where it's very dynamic in its posing. You know, Daredevil is known for throwing his batons around. So you can put Daredevil in somewhat of a dynamic pose, have him holding the batons, but then, you know, also bend these in all types of crazy ways so that it might look like Daredevil is getting ready to attack. It might look like Daredevil is on the defensive, you know, whatever, however you want to do it. Just doing it on camera now, I'm not probably putting it in the greatest pose ever. There we go. And we're just getting a little stuck. And yeah, you know, you can really play with this to your heart's content. So Daredevil looks pretty cool with this. I really like the way that this stuff works. I had reached out to him when he saw he was making these and basically said, hey, I'm going to ToyCon. You're going to have them there, right? And he was like, you know it. So I was so glad to get a set of these. He also has articulated chains. He has all kinds of stuff. I encourage you to check out what he has. It's not over. We're not done yet. The hits just keep coming. You know, when I was a kid, the first ever set of Micromasters that I got was the Decepticon race car patrol. And when I got rid of all my Micromasters, I sold them. And I always kind of regretted selling at least that one. Definitely eventually regretted selling Micromasters, but that team in particular, well, I saw somebody selling this team in full today and then decided to get all four of them. So I had this little blue one, and I forget the Decepticons' names on this team off the top of my head. I know the black one is Blackjack. I remember that, but God, this is just a hit of childhood nostalgia right here. I was smiling like an idiot when I saw these on the table. I want to say it was like $10. It was a really, really good price. And I said, you know what, for $10, I think I can relive some of my childhood. And their joints are nice and tight. You know, mine I played with so much that eventually their joints were just loose as can be. But these little Micromaster dudes look so good. And I know the Hasbro team during the War for Cybertron Siege line, or was it Earthrise? I forget which one, did like Micromaster 2-packs. And we got some of these guys, but it doesn't hit the same as the original ones. They just look so good. You know, they're fun little Transformers. I basically had it was like a lunchbox that I had all my Micromasters in, and I took that thing everywhere with me for years. And I just always had the Micromasters with me as a kid. And the funny thing is I still have the lunchbox, but now I have the Micromasters. So these are going to go somewhere on my Transformer shelf because they mean just that much to me, and it is really, really cool. And then one of the tables, someone just had some cheap little Battle Beasts. So there we go. I like Battle Beasts. I actually have a full American Battle Beast collection, but in buying these, they were the seller's last two Battle Beasts. I figured I'd take them off his hands and I could add them to maybe the gel on my Battle Beast bases. It's always good to have some characters in the gel, so let me try to focus on him. Here is the bear. As you can see, there is no rub sign there, so he could be wood, water, or fire. He doesn't have any weapons either. but there's also a hippo that looks like this. And I did laugh because when I was there, the seller even said, he was like, oh, I don't think I have the hippo. So I was like, well, then do you want to keep this one? He's like, no, you buy it. It's fine. So got another bear, another Battle Beast hippo. Why not? When they're cheap, I don't mind it. There are some cheap vintage things that I will always look for if I have the time. And I have one last thing to show off. I know I've just been kind of showing off stuff, going through a lot here in Bags Wrestle, but it is one more Transformer. And specifically, it is the Transformers G1 Powermaster Joyride. He doesn't have his Powermaster engine. I can still get him to transform, nor does he have his weapon, but that's okay. This is the only Powermaster from the Master Force series that I didn't have. I know in Master Force he is a different color and goes by a different name, but figured getting the American version is close enough. Starts out like that. Okay, try this again. Doing this live. Press where the engine would go to get this piece open. That makes his head pop out. You're then gonna flip the legs. You can, I guess you can move the hands there, move them out of the way. You're gonna flip the legs and then rotate around so they're front facing. And then this piece, you're gonna rotate so you can see his head, his chest piece. And I'm honestly very impressed because those are some clicky ratchets, but he has elbow articulation. He has bendable elbows, not something you see on a lot of G1 Transformers. And some of them you do. I don't want to say it's non-existent, but yeah, 2 points of articulation on each arm. That's pretty cool. And you know, he can lean back with his legs. So yeah, so I got Joyride, the last US Powermaster that I needed to kind of match with the Master Force line or cast. No weapon, no Powermaster. I might try to track down his gun at the very least, but I gotta say this is a pretty great haul for a show. I did spend a little more than I intended to, but I don't feel bad about it because this stuff is supposed to be fun. So got some fodder, got some fun stuff, some you know, stuff that'll have cool display, you know, living on a display somewhere and just be very cool. And there we go. If you haven't had the chance to check out New Jersey ToyCon, do it. I want to say it's a twice yearly show. There's one in the fall, one in the spring. So I hope you have enjoyed this. And let me know if you went. What kind of cool stuff did you pick up? Did you see me walking around at all? I'd love to hear about it. But until next time, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome. If you're curious to get any of the links of the sellers I talked about, I'm going to put it in the description. And I'll see you next time. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.